Well, I'd like to say hello to all of you as parents and for those of you that are students that will be returning for school here in the fall. We're about 7 days out from you arriving on campus, and needless to say, we're excited about you being back and being part of this opening day. Lots of stuff is taking place here at school while we're waiting for these 7 days. Classrooms are being set and all the procedures are being put in place, and so we're really excited. We feel like we're a little bit ahead of the curve for a change, and so we're excited about seeing you come back to be with us at the start of school. Parents and students, I want to cover just 3 areas in this short video. First of all, I want to say to you that along with this video, there are 3 links in our email that gives you links to the lower academies principal and the upper academies principal, and they have some information regarding the first day logistics of arrival and what's going to take place during that time. So make sure that you go to those links and view those 2 videos. There's also a link there to the school handbook, which will allow you to go to the school handbook and download that handbook. So those 3 things are also included with this video and this email. So make sure that you take care of that. I want to talk to you for just a moment about what it's going to take for us to stay open. Now, our goal here, of course, is to get school started and to proceed through the school year with as much normalcy as possible in light of all that we're having to do with this COVID-19 situation. But there are some areas that are really important for us to realize that as we go into this, that you as parents need to hear, and students, especially those of you on the upper level, need to hear. And so I just want to go on this with you, and this will be very, very important for us in staying open. First of all, I want to say to you that it is absolutely essential, families and students, that you report to us any type of exposure that you have to this virus, whether it's through a church group or a work, whatever. We need to know about those exposures, and you'll be able to do that through a link called attendance@gcagators.org. It's important for you to understand that you do not need to report those exposures to individual teachers. There's a great deal of confidentiality that has to take place regarding privacy and health law. And so we've set this attendance@gcagators.org so it will come into one office to one person, and they will notify administrators on that. And then we will again be talking to the health department on that. But it's absolutely essential, parents, that we know of exposures immediately, not 4 days afterwards, not waiting for symptoms, but we need to know if there's an exposure that takes place. Number 2, we want to say to you as parents, you need to report any illness that may be occurring in your student. It may just be a cold, but we need to know about it. We need to know to watch out for any symptoms that might occur during school. It's really important that we hear that. So you'll be reporting those illnesses at that same link that we've given you at attendance@gcagators.org. Number 3, I want to say to you that you need to examine your students in the morning. Now, I know what it's like in the mornings when you're trying to get children ready, people are getting ready for work, there's breakfast to be done, all of those things. But in light of what we're dealing with, it is really important for you to take temperatures in the morning, for you to establish that your student is not ill or sick, and that you can tell us, and one of the things you'll hear on the logistics videos that you'll watch, one of the questions we're going to ask you is, has your student exhibited any symptoms? Are they ill? Have you taken temperatures? You're going to be able to give us an all clear. And that's going to help us speed the process up, because then they're going to be processed once they get here with us taking the temperature and so forth and documenting all this. So it's really important that you take those steps at home before you leave to get here. Communicate to us. That's really important that we communicate to you. Do not email your teachers. Communicate through this link that we've given to you. I also want to say to you, because a lot of you have asked this question, the health department determines what happens if we have a COVID exposure. We as a school, as a staff, we don't control that. So if an exposure occurs, we have to report that exposure to the health department. Now I'm talking about an exposure here at school. If that happens, we go to the health department, we say to them, we have a link to them, they immediately respond, they check it out. They will determine what students have to be quarantined, if any, what teacher would have to be quarantined. They basically give us the parameters for how we can operate at that point. In talking with them, what we have gathered from them is that they're going to look at the whole situation before giving us a decision. And once they give us a decision, then we'll be able to communicate that to you as parents. We want to be just as transparent on our side as we want you to be to us in communicating illnesses. So we want you to know that we don't make those decisions. The health department makes those decisions. And then finally, I want to say to you, and this is really important, this is more so even for our older students. Parents, I need you to manage where your students are going and who they're with. I'm a little alarmed about this part of it, and you've seen this in the news recently where one of the universities opened and within 3 weeks they had to close because a group of students ignored the protocol, had a party one night, and 105 students came down with COVID. This is my biggest fear, is that we must manage where these students are going and who they're with and what kind of safety protocol is going in those places. Whether it's a church activity, an outside activity, playing a ball or a sport with a private organization, all of these things we need to monitor as closely. And we have to count on you parents to do that because we're not with them after school hours. But it's really important. I say to you again that we are doing everything we can to open and stay open. And this is for the advantage of our students of getting their education back on track and to protect them as safely as we can with all the things that we've done here at school to manage this. We have smaller classes. We have a mitigation program in place for cleaning and sanitizing. We've done a number of things in the building to provide for safety. But parents, we need you to manage this on the outside. We need you to manage where your students are going and who they're with and making sure that they're wearing their mask and being safe that way. Let me talk about the mask for a minute because I've heard different comments, and please understand. We have some of you that would like mask all day long, every precaution, every class, so forth. Then we have some of you that really don't want to wear the mask very much. And so my job is to try to make all of you happy, which is almost impossible. But let me just tell you what we're doing. In the hallway, students will have to wear masks. And so each of them need to have their own mask, and that needs to be taken care of at home so that the masks are washed and cleaned and ready to go. But they'll need a mask that's their own. They need to wear the mask when they're in hallways. Now, we've limited the amount of times they're going to be in the hallways by the way we've scheduled classes and by the divisions where they're going to be in classrooms. But they'll need a mask there. They'll need a mask when they go from their classrooms to chapel. And once they're in chapel, if they want to remove the mask, that's up to them. We have spacing in chapel between them. That's up to you as the parent and the child. If you don't want them to remove the mask, then you need to tell them. You need to wear your mask while you're in chapel. Lastly, let me say that they will be wearing their mask in the hallways going to the cafeteria to get their lunch. But once they sit down and have lunch, it will be just like it is at a restaurant. They can remove their mask and eat their lunch and so forth. In the classroom, we have spacing for them, and so they have been provided for in a way that all the students are looking forward. Okay, there is space between them in all directions, and so they do not have to wear a mask in the classroom unless you as a parent decide that they need to wear that mask, and you need to let the teacher know that you want that to take place, and then we'll do that for you and make sure they wear it. I will just say this, as an educator, I've been doing this almost 50 years this year. I will just say to you that it will be very difficult for a student to stay in a mask all day long and get accomplished what needs to be accomplished. We're taking all the precautions we can. When they go to the playground for recess and so forth, we have different zones in the playground that they'll be in, separated. I just think that as much as possible, we need it to be as normal as possible. But I'll share that with you so that all of you will know what we are doing here. I have a strong belief as a Christian educator that your child does not belong to me. They belong to you. And you need to make those final decisions. We don't want to do those mandatory things without your participation. And so you make it known to your student what your requirements are for their mask. And then when they're here, we'll make it known to them here. Here's where you have to have mask on. Here's where you do not have to have mask on. So please go over that with your student. Let me talk about the first day of school, because first day of school is always a very interesting day because a lot happens here in a short period of time. But it's really important. And the first thing I want to say to you is, number one, there will only be one entry into the school. That will be the entry where the stoplight is on the property to the right of the school. The other entrance will be blocked off. The reason for this is we have to get our traffic flow down in the first few days, and taking temperatures and some of the responsibilities we have is going to take a little longer. We cannot back traffic up onto Kempsville Road because of the busyness of that road. So we're blocking the first entrance off so there's no backup of you turning in and interfering with other traffic. As we get traffic smoothed out, then we will open that entrance back up and begin to bring people in on both entrances. But for the first week, maybe the first 2 weeks, that entrance will be blocked off when you get here. So I want you to know that ahead of time so that you're not trying to make that turn. Second thing I want to mention to you is on the first day of school, we do not want any collegiate students here on the parking lot before 8:30. So that's going to delay them a little bit. That's going to be beyond their regular time. Now here's the reason why, because we need to get the lower academies in and get them in the building and in place before we start having collegiate students show up. Because collegiate students will come in through the door that's marked gym, they'll come in that hallway, and there will be health screenings in that hallway, and then they will go from there to their first bell class. So parents, those that are driving, the driving students, usually our juniors, seniors, they do not need to be on the parking lot until 8:30. And we'll be sending them to first bell class after they're screened. So just remember that. That's a really important fact, is we don't have room for them on the parking lot until 8:30 and beyond. So just for that first day, and then we'll give them instruction after that first day as to whether the next day they can be on time or not. But we think after the first day we'll be fine. So that's really important for you to do that. Let me also mention to you that it is really important that parents in the parking lot, that you abide by the directional signs that are out there, that you abide by the people that are on duty. And here's one I really want to touch on. No cell phones when you're picking up and dropping off. Put your cell phones down. If you're talking to someone, tell them you'll call them back. But we need your absolute attention in the lines that you're ready to move up. One of our struggles last year was some of you would be talking to cell phones, you let space open up in front of you, and we needed you to move up. We need you to put your cell phones down. We need you not to use cell phones while you're coming in or going out. It's just a matter of 30, 45 seconds, and I believe we all can do without our cell phones for that period of time. So please remember that, and I've instructed our people that are outside, if they see you on a cell phone, to let you know and warn you ahead of time. Put your cell phones down. Please do not be angry with them. They're only doing what I've asked them to do. If you as a parent do not abide by that, then you can look forward to me giving you a call to get you to abide by that, because we need everyone to pay attention. We have a lot of students on campus. Every class is full right now. I think we might have 4 openings in the whole school left. So a lot of students on campus. We want all of them to be safe coming in and out of the building. And so it's really important that you pay attention to that fact of no cell phones. Families with multiple level students. When you drop off, if you have students in the upper academies and lower academies and you have to drop off for the lower academies, naturally we'll let you drop your upper level student off at that point. They need to come in through their regular assigned door, go through the health screening, and go to their first bell class. That's fine. Let me give you times. The times for pickup and delivery. In the lower academies, you can drop off between 7:40 and 8 o'clock. 7:40, 8 o'clock. At 8:05, you are late. So drop off between 7:40 and 8 o'clock, 8:05. Some of you in the past have driven around the back and you've waited until the 7:40 time to get here. You will not be able to do that, and here's the reason why. On the median and on the sidewalk, there will be health screeners that will screen cars as you drive forward. You will not be allowed to sit there. We must keep that traffic moving. So when you come in after 7:40, move up front. The health screeners will work with your students and they'll get them out of the car and into the classroom. But the idea that you can come back at 7:20 and just sit there for 20 minutes, it cannot take place. We're going to do this voluntarily, but if I see that it is an issue, then we'll begin blocking off the lanes until we open at 7:40. So please pay close attention to that. Your pickup time for the lower school is at 3 o'clock. 3:05 is when we're getting, so about 3 o'clock you can arrive, but please do not arrive before 3 o'clock. We do not have a place for you to stack in the back. We have to get you through, pick up the students. We're doing that pickup in the afternoon. We're doing just like a rain day where they're calling for the student will come to the car, so forth. So it'll be a little more lengthy that way because of this COVID situation. So please cooperate with us as we get through this. For those of you that are new parents, I will tell you up front, the first day or two, traffic seems horrendous. But usually after 2 days, you'll be surprised at how quickly you roll in and take care of this and be on your way. It just takes us a couple days to get into the pattern that we use. Also, I want to say to you that as you're dropping off, for your upper school students, that drop-off time is between 7:50 and 8:10. 7:50 and 8:10. And please do not come to pick your students up in the afternoon to about 3:35. They get out of class at 3:20. Usually by the time that they go to their lockers and do the things that they do, talk to some of their friends, it's 3:35 before they can get out the door. I've said to most of you as parents before, I wouldn't come until 3:40 or 3:45, then you'll be sure that they're outside. You will always pick up on the back just like we do in the mornings for delivery. So please remember that, to not come early, come later. And that will help you as far as getting in and out. Now finally today, I want to finish up by saying to you that there's a link included with this video, with the email that you're going to get, that's of the student handbook. That link will be available to you as parents for 7 days to download to your computer for you to have throughout the school year. So download it so that you have it and read through it so that any questions you have can be directed to your divisional principals and they will be glad to answer that for you. In saying that about the handbook, there are 2 areas that I want to make sure that you look at. Number 1 is make sure that the dress code is looked at and followed from day 1, that they are in proper dress code, haircuts proper, clothes proper, so forth. That's important. So we're not dealing with those issues. Number 2, parents, you need to check the attendance section of the handbook for pre-planned absences of what is allowed and what is not allowed, because we run into this every year. You're granted so many pre-planned absences, after that they're counted as unexcused. So please read through that section of the handbook. That's very, very important to you. And then let me say that you should have your fax account in place. That's where your tuition is withdrawn from, and all your finances up to date. If you're still having any kind of struggle in that, you can contact the business office and they'll be glad to work with you to get that done. Now, that's a lot of information in a short amount of time. Hopefully you can view the video a couple of times and get it. But let me just say to you finally, from me, it is important that you pray for us. And when I say that, I don't mean just a prayer here and there. I mean you actively need to cover us in prayer. What I don't want to see happen is that we get open, we're moving forward, and then all of a sudden we have to stop and go back to remote. We don't want to do that. And we know that you don't want that. We know that you want your students in a face-to-face daily operation. So please pay attention to that and pray for us. As a staff, we've been on our knees in our staff meetings. We've been praying about this. And we've asked for God's protection and His hand of protection over our school, over our students, and over you as parents, so that we can move forward with education as it should take place. So when I ask you today, if you'll please do that, put us on your prayer sheet, put us in your devotional time, and make sure you're praying for Greenbrier Christian Academy as we move forward. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this today. Make sure you see the other videos depending upon your division. Thank you and God bless you. We look forward to seeing you in just a few days.